Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to this edition of the GASO cast. I'm your host, Michael Timmons. This week, me and Lyndon are going to be covering all things Two City One GASO. I'm excited for it. But before we start, want to get into some housekeeping. Lyndon, we transfer from the high school season into grassroots season. So, what can we expect with the GASO Fast Break newsletter, which continues just to pick up steam?
Yeah, going to be a lot of coverage from not just GASO events from all over the place. If you check in last week's edition, we had a bunch of thoughts and player evals from War Before the Storm because we all had our eyes on that one. We'll be checking out different circuits throughout the summer, any local events, and obviously, every GASO that you attend, you're going to have to get your chance to get your name on the fast break, and we're going to have a lot of write-ups, all tournament teams, MVPs, next gen, stock risers, all that type of stuff that's dropping every Friday on the GASO Fast Break powered by Substack.
Yeah, I think the best thing is we're already, and this is my background, but we're already like the leader in event coverage for event hosts. But we also get to be like, hey, it's just starting. And you can say that, but with what you've done with the Fast Break newsletter, it literally is just starting because we have so much post-event coverage as well. So that thing continues just to amaze me. Like when I see what you post and how much there is, it's like so much content. So definitely worth the price. Do you want to pub your hat real quick? Just because I'm wearing an Hours Collection hat because haircut day is not till tomorrow. So I'm going hat gang. You want to pub yours?
Yeah, Rambler sparkling water. Never actually drank a Rambler sparkling water, but I like the hat.
Tell them, hey, listen, we already have almost 100 people watching right now. Tell them to send us a free pack. You can get shout out to Ramblers. All right, man, let's get into it because one thing I'll say is like, as we shoot this schedule build for Two Cities One GASO has been out of control. A lot of changes. Continue to look at those schedules. We apologize that these schedules are changing. A lot of it's not in our hands, but it's a loaded event. So there's a lot of requests. There's a lot of matchups that are, working their way in. So we're going to talk about them as we see them. But right away, this is our first big event. We did King of the Court. That's just like a little like ease into it. But now we're here. So let's talk about some familiar faces. This segment's going to be more so who's somebody that was hot in the high school season that gets a chance to build right off that momentum going into Two Cities One GASO.
Yeah, and I don't think there was anybody hotter at the end of the high school season than Elijah Garrett with Beaumont Westbrook as he led them, and I mean, at times, just willed them to a state title in 5A Division One. He'll be at our Houston leg with JL3 17U this weekend. I'm really excited. This kid's a gamer. He always puts on a show at the GASO. I mean, last summer with that JL3 group, really had a big event in that super bracket that we put together for them. And I'm excited to see how he hits the ground running in the 2025 grassroots season at a GASO.
So before let's go back. Two Cities One GASO for people that don't know or just fans of GASO that are listening about players and stuff. We're going to be in Houston and Duncanville this weekend. So our staffs are splitting up. We're running two events at the same time. There's going to be some fun banter with my media team where it's like, hey, who has the better clips right now out of Duncanville versus Houston? So there's some fun and back and forth, but there's high-level matchups in both. So it's one of our favorite events. It's one of the most unique events in the state of Texas. So, like, for example, I'm going down Friday and Saturday with you. You're staying all 3 days in Houston. I'm coming back Sunday, so I'm going to try to cover a little bit of both. And as much as that's like, once I'm driving back Saturday evening from Houston, I'm like, why am I trying to cover both? It makes sense once I step in the gym Sunday at Duncanville because Sunday's a loaded event as well. But for me, Jacoby Lovings, Kennedale, you're a state champion now. Elevate U has already made some big time noise at some of these events prior. So look for him to continue to stock rise. But you talk about Elijah Garrett coming off a state championship. Jacoby Lovings does the same thing. So you're right to it. It's not like you had a nice little deep playoff run. No, you were a dude in that state championship game. And now we're giving Elevate some high-level games this week, so I expect to see him perform well.
Yeah, let's throw another state champion in the mix with Shia Francis with Houston Second Baptist. He's going to be there with Texas Takeover. I mean, he had 15 and 15 in that state championship game I was at. I mean, he's somebody who a really productive, really skilled forward, guard, wing, whatever you want to call him. He's really versatile. Really love watching him play. And that takeover group's I'm gonna have my eye on them all weekend long in Houston.
Let's throw in another state champion. Why don't Caden Gray with Dallas Kimball? That Dallas Showtime Rise team, I'm excited to see them. They also have Jalen Hancock on that team, but just I'm excited to see Caden Gray with another chance to show what he can do on ball. So I'm excited for him. But yeah, it looks like this familiar faces segment that I created is just, hey, who are the state champions that are like ready to go to the grassroots circuit and be like, hey, I don't think they can play with their gold medals on, but pack them if you want.
Right. Yeah.
So our next segment, we're not trying to sell more tickets. We've already seen some events. Y'all are posting the ticket prices. I don't think our ticket prices are that high, but we're not trying to sell any more tickets. But here's how. These are the matchups. If you're like, you need to be, these are the matchups. So Lyndon, kick us off with this first matchup.
Yeah, and this one might be my favorite in either DFW or Houston of the weekend, and it's TJ Ford against JL 317s. And TJ Ford, they've got a really fun kind of balanced mix of 26s and 27s to take a look at here. Chase Richardson, a very highly ranked kid in our 2027 rankings, running the point for them. But then you add in Zason Salanoa, who's like one of the biggest glue guys in Houston with what he does for Atascocita. You add in Sean Ducksworth, who's a excellent player we've seen in multiple different settings. Dean Spencer, who had a great year for Seven Lakes. These guys, I'm really excited to get my eyes on them. And like I talked about, I mentioned Elijah Garrett earlier, but this JL3, the core of this team, Jackson Thompson, had a really big year at the high school level with Green Hill. Obviously Austin Brown with Lufkin, Coleman Elkins. These guys get things done at a high level. They know how to win at GASOs. This game itself right here, I don't think I'm going to leave that courtside the entire time it's going on because it's one of those must-see matchups, in my opinion.
Absolutely. For me, how about this Drive Nation EYBL 17U versus 3D Empire NXT Pro 16 17U? You get, which is very rare these days. I mean, these are our rankings, but you have the number 1 and 2 player in the state of Texas. And, internally, every time something, like we're flip-flopping them internally, unofficially. But Austin Goose beat Dakari Spear on the same team, and it just works. Like, these two, forget there's competition. Everybody wants to be one. But these two guys love each other. They want to play with each other. They play well off each other. So you get to see 1 and 2 on the same team taking the court this weekend. And then that 3D Empire team, I say it every time we talk about them. You give Sean another week to practice and get their execution down, like they're going to be hard to beat. You have the Trey Nunns, the Will Saunders, Mason Thomas, Jordan Goodman, Gilbert Luga moved over there now. So we've seen them a few times already. I'm excited to see what else that I want to see this Drive Nation team show. Because this early, when you have success at the 16U level, and you know this, Lennon, when you go to that 17U level, especially at the EYBL, like your game has to grow. Like everybody has to take that next level. So just being 1 and 2 doesn't, like, for what Drive Nation wants to accomplish, I expect them to come out physical and clicking, regardless of how much time they've had playing. These kids have played together for many years, so I don't expect to be too much rust. So excited to see that matchup. What's another one?
Let's move down to the 16s in Houston. Gulf Coast Blue Chips, 16U. I mean, when you look at this roster, Peyton Jones, Christian Brown, Xavier Muhammad, even guys like Tyson Forrest, like I'm excited to get my eyes on them. You got to see them at the War and, put on a show, look the part for you. And then matching them up with Miles Select coming off a really impressive weekend with, this team has plenty of dudes as well in their own right. I mean, Damon Miles has already made a big name for himself in the 27 class. Troy Nell Bell, Caden Watson, Caleb Lopez. Excited to see all of these different guys. And, one of those things where, these are two teams that I think are really going to be physical, really going to compete. And we're going to get an entertaining game because they both like to play fast.
So for this next one, I want you to talk about one of the teams for me because I'm not for sure if I'm going to be at this event or not, or at this game, depending on how I'm traveling. But I circled Coos versus Takeover Rise at the 17 level. Talk about this Coos team.
Yeah, I mean, Trey Pinkard is where we're going to start because his shot making ability, throughout the high school season on into the early parts of the grassroots circuit has really made waves across the state. I've loved what I've seen from him in the clips and tape that I've been able to break down. Muhammad Endow, I mean, this guy, he's one of the biggest, we need to move him up right now for what
he's one of those guys, like when we start these events, it's like, hey, who do we need to go figure out a little bit more? Like, we need to get eyes. So, like, he's one of those priorities for our staff going down to Houston to be like, hey, we need to go figure what that is because it looks different for sure.
Yeah, it does. And then you throw in Steven Agdidi, Carlos Ojeda. This team, I'm really excited to get my eyes on them up close and personal.
Yeah, and then the Takeover Rise team, we talked about Mr. Francis. I mean, I'm telling my camera guys, hey, be there because he's going to do something crazy. You have Jeremiah Monahan from Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial, who, I mean, all year long, what were we saying? They're going to win state over and over again. He was one of the key pieces for them. And then Devin Brown of Pearland. Just those three names, that Texas Takeover team is fun. Yeah. And I expect this to be a rocking matchup. And I hope I can make it work. But yeah, before we move to the next segment, leave a like wherever you're watching. If I look tired and sleepy today because I don't like the way I look on camera. So leave a like if you agree. But we appreciate y'all watching. Looking outside, looks like there might be like 4 tornadoes about to happen here in Dallas. But we're going to keep rocking with it. So I just mentioned I don't know if I'm going to be at that last match that we talked about. But this next segment's literally, I can't believe I won't be there. So because we have 2 events and we can't be at 2 places at once, we'll have half the staff in Dallas, half the staff in Houston. Let's talk about matchups that you're not going to be able to see with your own eyes that I'm sure whoever is there is going to be in the group chat being like, sucks you missed this, but it's a banger. What's that matchup for you?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Anthony Edwards 5 against Team Business happening at Duncanville. This core of AE5, it's the Flash Elite core from the 16s last year that we love to watch at every GASO they attended. Josh Weems and his elite mid-range game, Ian Berry, Eli Fegans, Laman Foon, Keyshawn Miles, and all the energy that he brings. Against a group that was really one of the strong takeaways at King of the Court was Team Business because they just get after you. They can live on the rims. They can light it up. Zach Carpenter, Pashawn Walker, R.C. Heron, and the Harbor Twins. Like, that's going to be a game where I'm not going to call you out, Mass, but I kind of want, every media timeout that you can give me an update on that one. Go ahead and shoot that text in the group because I want to get your take on an evaluation from these 2 groups.
GASO media timeout's crazy.
You bet.
what would we just yeah, I can only imagine what we could do on court with media timeouts. For me, this is another one. Like I said, I'm trying to, because I always cover both, and I'm trying to figure out how to do certain matchups. But YGC 17U versus the Elevate. YGC's roster is loaded, and they haven't put out an official roster yet. But I'm not even going to name some players. Just know there's some players on that team that are making their homecoming to Texas. Let's just say that. But they're loaded. I know they're using this weekend to continue to figure this out, but on paper, what I'm seeing is big time. But then you're playing an Elevate U team that they're no stranger to playing spoiler. They've already beat some shoe teams already in this grassroots season. And they're coming into GASO very hungry, very proud of the schedule. And they want, if they could have got even a bigger schedule. I mean, that's how they were talking. So expect them to be ready. And for a YGC 17 team that's debuting at our event, they understand that they're going to have to bring it right away. So there's no easing into this. And I'm excited for those type of matchups just because everybody has different things to prove. You have the YGC players that are like finalizing their roster, trying to make sure that they assert themselves and make a spot versus an Elevate U team that's like, hey, we don't have time to waste. Kennedale guys just came off a state championship. We want to go knock people in the mouth as quick as we can. And I'm glad that GASO gives that opportunity to them to play some high-level opponents. So I'm excited for that game. And then the last one, I think I'm going to make it, but that's Dallas Mustangs 16U versus YGC 16U. Amarian Hunter, James McCall Spears versus Deuce Hunt and Dawson Batee. When you're talking about just a 2-on-2 NBA Jam style, and I know there's a lot of other players, but I'm looking at those two right there, 2-on-2 to make that happen. So, like I said, after we'll probably have a segment on the GASO Fast Break that's like, what's the game that you were like, oh, I didn't even think about that I missed, that I'm beating myself up about. But once again, we love these events.
Yeah.
The FOMO we have is all worth it at the end of the weekend because there's so many high-level matchups all over the place. So, yeah, let's finish with rapid fire. Who are some names that can be getting a lot of post-event coverage when it's all said and done? Lyndon, I'll start with you.
Yeah, let me go with let's go with Nelson Newman from Raptors 15U. Haven't seen him play in person. I'll admit that right now, but I have seen my fair share of clips and YouTube videos and et cetera. And that's just a name that kind of, just gets the ball rolling a little bit when you're talking about, who is going to be the best, freshman going into sophomore, like a prospect to look out for in that. And so he's going to be my guy on that topic.
You subscribe to the Newman YouTube channel?
I do not.
So I'll say this. I mean, they do great stuff, but they also, like, that family, they can ball. So anytime we get a chance to, like, separate that, I know, like, they can ball. So it's not a gimmick. But, like, I mean, shout out to that YouTube channel because I know it's doing numbers. Goodness gracious. Levi Moore, Upside Athletics, they're heading down to San Antonio, or down to Houston. And this guy, I mean, I'm bullish on him as a 2028. He's just continued to, like, people are going to be like, who is that? Like, because he can play with any 2028 in Texas. He's electric. I'm excited for him to get down to Houston and see the Houston guys be like, who is this kid? Who's another one for you?
Yeah, let's stick with another 2028, and that's Tyree Wooten. We saw him at the Next Gen up here last month, and for Klein Oak, like, this guy, really great. I mean, just smooth, quick, gets to the paint a ton, makes the right decision, great finisher over length. He's another one of that 28 class in Houston that I'm excited to get another look at.
Yeah, Brian Robinson, 3D Empire 16U team. It sucks because at King of the Court, he was really good, and I was like, oh, this guy's kind of hooping. And I wanted to be the one that was bullish, but then he goes to War of the Storm, and he's in takeover mode. So I'm going to try it one more time. I'm going to be loud. I mean, I'm going to say at this point right now, if I had to pick one guy that's the biggest stock riser in the state, it's Bryant Robinson. So I have to say that now because every week that he plays, it's like whatever I say is just going to be tuned out by his play and just other media people. So this is my last chance probably to be like, hey, he's going to be the biggest stock riser in the state. I'm excited for some of the matchups we're giving him. I also have Josh Weems, that Anthony Edwards Texas team, which a lot of those players, they were from Flash Elite the year before. Guess what? All Flash Elite did was just hurt people's feelings last year. So now this Anthony Edwards team is going to be very fun to watch. Excited to see that program's debut with Josh Weems coming off a high-level year at Frisco Lone Star. Just the midi killer is what me and that boy's gonna find a midi. And then Tre'Davion Young, Dallas DeFam, he played well recently at their last event, made some noise that I saw some media people talking about. But he's another one. Can shoot off the bounce, shoot off the dribble. Just a high-level cat that continues to get it done out of Cedar Hill.
Yep.
So
I'll finish this.
Oh, you have another one?
I got one more.
At the buzzer.
William Arriaga from Team Dominate. This team, really fun GASO team last year. Like his length and scoring ability, saw him at Houston Christian in the season, and I think that he's going to have a lot of people there to see him, and then he's going to win a lot of matchups against other guys he lines up against in that 27 class this season.
So, yeah, we usually do this on a Tuesday, but we were messing with the schedule. I'm excited for this weekend. We could have talked for another 20, 30 minutes, but Blue and Mass are going to be on a couple hoops in a little bit, and we didn't want to just take all their talking points. So let's just shut it down here. We're going to head down to Houston here pretty soon to get ready for that. But follow us on every social media platform there is because the content this weekend is going to be unlike any other. It's Houston versus Dallas in the sense when it comes to high level matchups. Who's going to be the loudest in the gym? But yeah, Gasolin and IFM Hoopers, Gaso Blue, Mass, follow us all. The IG is going to be popping. I'm getting the TikTok going. So rock with us. Tuesdays when Gas was one of our favorite events. And then following up next week, we're going to be in Austin at the ATX tip-off. So for those Central Texas teams, those South Texas teams, you know what you're getting when you're playing at a GASO. So if you want to get some coverage early on in the season and start building that momentum, you know where to play. So, but until then, we're going to finish getting our stuff together. We're heading down to Houston. I'll be in Dallas Saturday night and Sunday. But yeah, Lyndon, I'll see you down in Houston, and we will see y'all soon. Peace.
Yes, sir.